News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
It's now 5:05 in the KVNU studios as we've had another hot afternoon in Cache Valley. I'm Will Feelright with your local headlines this hour. Well, a 32-year-old Logan man with a history of gang affiliation has been sentenced to jail and 36 months of probation for a shooting that happened in Logan 18 months ago. Now, Rocky Rivera was sentenced last week in Logan's First District Court after previously pleading guilty to third-degree felonies, including aggravated assault, felony discharge of a firearm, and possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance. Now, the charges all stem from an incident that happened back on October 16th of 2024. During that confrontation outside Riviera's residence, prosecutors say that the defendant had stabbed a man who had arrived to pick up a child and then later fired a pistol at the victim. Now, Rivera was also stabbed during the altercation. Last week, Judge Angela Fonsbeck sentenced Rivera to 587 days in jail, granting credit for the roughly 600 days he had already served. Rivera, meanwhile, apologized during the hearing, stating that he hopes to become a better parent for his children in the future. Meanwhile, search and rescue teams extracted an injured climber Saturday afternoon after the individual fell 30 feet down a route in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Now, Salt Lake County Sheriff's Search and Rescue were dispatched at about 3:15 to the Pentapitch route after receiving a call from the climber's companion. Now, the friend had reported that the climber had fell from the fourth pitch, sustaining an ankle and shoulder injury. Now, Unified Fire Authority personnel arrived first and requested assistance from search and rescue. A Utah Department of Public Safety helicopter crew subsequently hoisted the patient from the mountain and transported them to a secure landing zone. Now, the climber was then taken to an area hospital by ambulance with non-life-threatening injuries. Well, turning to political news, Utah Senator John Curtis is renewing legislative efforts to try to prohibit government officials from using insider information on prediction markets following allegations against a White House staffer. Now, Gabriel Perez, a technical assistant who has operated President Donald Trump's teleprompter since 2016, reportedly made over $100,000 on the platform Kalshi. Now, investigators claim that Perez would bet on specific phrases used during high-profile presidential addresses, including the State of the Union. Now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt last week confirmed that Perez had been placed on paid administrative leave. Now, the incident follows a separate January controversy where a trader won over $400,000 on Polymarket by correctly predicting the removal of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro hours before a U.S. military mission was announced. Now, Curtis's bill would ban the president, vice president, lawmakers, and executive employees from using prediction markets. And finally, a federal-state scientific collaboration launched a specialized aircraft research campaign over the weekend to study the complex factors that are driving harmful summer ozone and air pollution in northern Utah. Now, the project uses a University of Wyoming newly funded King Air 350 research aircraft that's described as a flying laboratory. Now, flying between 200 to 4,000 feet, the plane will conduct twice daily flights through August to measure volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides. Now, these are pollutants that bake in the sun to create ground-level ozone. Now, lower elevation ozone also causes severe respiratory issues, which can include asthma and reduced lung capacity. Now, the multi-year effort combines data from ground vans, the aircraft, and also satellites. Researchers from multiple universities, NASA, and the Utah Division of Air Quality all anticipate analyzing that data once it's all collected. Pretty cool. Well, we've had hot temperatures again today with temperatures in the high 90s, and now tonight we'll drop into the mid-60s, a few clouds overnight tonight into tomorrow as we once again will see a real small chance of some afternoon thunderstorms. Temperatures still tomorrow expected to be in the high 90s. It isn't until Tuesday night into Wednesday that we could see a chance of some increased showers. Some cooler weather also coming Wednesday as we'll be into the low 90s, and then low 90s continuing for Thursday, mid-90s by Friday. And weather this hour brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. They have all the parts you need to keep your car running during these hot summer days. Everything from batteries, headlights, wiper blades, all in stock and on sale at your locally owned and operated Napa Auto Parts from Preston to Providence. And I'm Will Feelwright for KVNU News. More of KVNU's For the People show with Jason Williams is on the way next.
Did you know you can cut your Rocky Mountain power bill by 40 to 50% without a single solar panel? With the new time of use rates, power is 4.5 times more expensive in the evening, but cheap during the day. At Greenbox Solar, we install smart home batteries that charge up when electricity is cheap, then power your home during peak hours. Solar is totally optional and can be added in the future, but savings are guaranteed. Drop by Greenbox Solar's showroom in South Logan to see the hardware for yourself. Visit our website at poweredbygreenbox.com.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
For 50 years, Discount Tire and Automotive has kept families moving safely. Celebrate our milestone 50th anniversary sale now through August 20th with our biggest deal of the year. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th free. Plus, get a $50 alignment with any 4-tire purchase and save up to $200 on top brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Need mechanical repairs? Take 5% off to celebrate. Thank you for 50 great years. Visit us in Providence, Logan, and Smithfield or at webtires.net.
Planning a summer getaway, or do you have friends and family arriving in Logan? Whether it's hiking, biking, fishing, family vacations, outdoor concerts, or exploring beautiful Cache Valley, you need a great place to stay. The absolute best deal in town is the Bomb Hotel and the Aggie 79 Special. Stay for just $79 per night. Enjoy clean, comfortable rooms, friendly service, and outdoor pool, plus a free full breakfast for just $79 with Aggie 79. Call 752-5220, 752-5220, and book your summer stay today.
I wanna be free like the bluebirds flying.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. And when you grab the Sad Monkeys song, when you were reaching for the Happy Monkeys song, hour 2 of today's show, it is still Monday, July 20th, and it is now 96 degrees here at the Radio Ranch, up a degree from hour 1, 5:12 in the afternoon. Appreciate you joining us, and want to just give a shout-out to our guest. We're kicking things off here with Cache County Councilmember Keegan Garrity, and a big thank you to him because he is here to talk to us about something today that, I mean, to be very blunt, there are not a lot of details to discuss yet. That's kind of the point of a vote the Cache County Council took last week. And there are many, many options on the table. Everyone has a preference. Some people actually want nothing done. Others have a very specific preference of what they think would be best. And the county has to navigate all of this. And it's going to be a very complex process that'll play out over the next year and a bit plus. And so, Keegan, appreciate you taking some time to come down and really do the impossible, because at this point, we can't say to listeners who would, the obvious question, here's what the county's going to do. We just need to know how to do that the most cheaply and most effectively. We're not at that point yet, right?
We're not, yeah, and thanks for having me. So maybe we could start with just establishing a premise of where we are, just on a very basic high level, which is every organization I've ever been a part of in my life has infinite wants and finite resources.
What?
So, yeah. And this one may shock you, too.
I've never met a taxpayer with those dueling expectations either, have I?
No. And here's another one is that may shock you, is not everyone is going to get everything they want.
Yeah.
Yep. And so to personalize that, what you want might not be what the majority wants.
Sure.
So what we're trying to do here, like we do with anything else, is do the most good for the highest amount of people. And that, you're right, is challenging. I think you might have used the word impossible. I won't use that word yet, but it is a challenge. So that's where we are. And we can get more specific on what the rec center looks like in that regard.
And just quickly, for those out there who don't know, we can back up a little bit, too, and say this is something that's been thrust upon the county when Logan City made a tough decision that, understandably, they had to make. Basically saying, look, we've done this rec center thing for decades. It's getting a bit unsustainable, and as population grows, it's just not going to work. And so Logan City kind of pulled out of serving that role of sort of a countywide rec center provider pulled their rec center back and using it more on scaled down purposes. And so now the county is saying, okay, what are the county needs out there?
Right. And I think it would be helpful to understand how we got to where we are and where we hope to go. So just to go all the way back in, I think it was 2002, the county residents passed the RAPS tax.
I forgot.
That stands for Recreation, Arts, Parks, and Zoos. And there's a certain money there's a certain amount of money that's earmarked for those specific things. And that was a voluntary tax that the residents said, tax me higher so we can spend money on these things. So fast forward to now, and I think the goal is ultimately on the 2028 ballot to ask voters the question, do we want to bond for a rec center? And so there's a lot of questions within that. Where is it? What is it? Who runs it? Those are the things we're trying to determine.
Sure. And that's and there's so many different ways this could be. You know, what's fascinating to me, Keegan, and I don't say this, I'm not mocking them. I sincerely think this is very cool. It's fascinating to me. I learned this from Logan City when they brought some consultants in to talk about what the public wants from a downtown. I was fascinated to learn that there are these consultants out here who specialize. Somewhere out there is a consulting firm who specializes in recreation and recreational centers at the county level. And that this committee that was created by this vote last week will now start reaching out to them and saying, what can we learn?
That's right. The company is VCBO. And so before my time on council, the existing council members approved, I think it was $150,000 to do a 2-phase study. And this is VCBO that's doing the study. They're the same outfit that did the Provo Rec Center.
Oh, okay.
So if anyone's ever been there,
that's a popular one.
Right. So they have experience doing this, and they've completed phase 1, which is a self opt-in survey. And for the data nerds out there, if you self opt into a survey, it's not scientific. So it's going to bias towards people probably who do want a rec center.
Have a strong opinion.
Right. But it's still a valuable opinion because it's, if you want a rec center, what do you want in it? And so they've been meeting over the last little while to try and determine that. And they've been meeting with a group who is just a group of volunteers that has put in a lot of time and effort to direct them on some of those decisions. But ultimately, it's difficult because it's not, this ad hoc group they're not an official appointed body. So it's difficult for VCBO to say, okay, you guys are speaking on behalf of those that control the purse, which is the legislative branch, which is the county council. So the next logical step was then, okay, let's talk as a council and figure out, do we have the time to do this? Do we want to take this on to make this decision? Or do we want to find people in the community who can dedicate a little bit more time and make a recommendation to us?
Sure.
Ultimately, it will be the council's decision, but the recommendation should help quite a bit.
That is... And also, it's going back to the number of options as well. It's important that that the council explores, even if one maybe isn't going to be more popular, you still kind of have to explore it and say, could this be the most effective? Because you have to, a lot of times, so a lot of the discussion around this, people have talked a lot about initial costs, construction and setup of 2 buildings, 1 big central building, things like that, the infrastructure that would all go with it. But we also have to look at long-term management costs. But also, a few weeks ago, we spoke with the Utah Foundation, and they talked to us about how quickly Utah's population is aging. As you have this huge baby boomer population entering those years, and then a not much smaller generation right behind them entering middle age. You have to consider the fact that our elderly population is going to be much larger 10 years from now than it is today. All of that has to be factored in, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's so many different factors to consider and so many people to appease, which harkens back to the very first thing I mentioned, which is, infinite wants and finite resources. So what we're trying to do is figure that out. And cost is a factor because one of the questions that comes up, for example, I play hockey at the ice arena, which has been under construction. I'm really excited for it to get back into it. But if you asked me, Jason, would you like an ice rink less than a mile from your house? My answer would be yes, right? Of course. If that question was paired with, would you like an ice rink a mile from your house and your dues are going to triple, then I might say, you know what, I don't mind driving 15 minutes over there so
Sure.
I can play. So I think those questions that we're asking have to be coupled with the cost. I mean, it's an essential component.
It was interesting to me, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit, or maybe other experiences council members you've spoken with have had, but as this was first kind of coming out, and I think it was the former county executive was here in the studio, and he mentioned, the options of, a central location, an east-west split, a north-south split, all four if you wanted to go all out, depending on, projected population densities. And we said there's so many options. And for some reason, when he said the words north-south, I instantly thought of that Eccles Ice Arena Sports Complex area in North Logan and thought that's that's just a no-brainer. Put a rec center there, and then another one, I don't know, South Logan, Nibley, whatever equalizes to be about halfway the other end of the valley. That just made so much sense to me. But I say that as an example to say we all have kind of this gut instinct about this. And I assume this is the same is true for council members. But none of us out here in the public, myself included, have any idea what is actually the most feasible.
No, and that's why I think I mentioned the ultimate goal is to put it on a ballot, right? Because that's the ultimate test of what do people want. Because
a bond would likely be necessary.
Yeah, but to get there, we need to know, and VCBO, frankly, needs to know what is essential. Is an indoor pool an essential part that we're not willing to compromise on? Is it pickleball courts? Is it soccer? You mentioned the complex in North Logan. There's an indoor soccer facility there. And I imagine soccer is only going to grow in popularity after a bunch of people just tuned into the World Cup.
It's pretty exciting final game yesterday.
It was, yeah. So I think you're trying to juggle that, right? And a few months ago, VCBO presented to the council, and they were looking for direction. Do we start leaning in towards just one centralized location? Here are the pros and cons. Do we do two, or do we do three? That was actually one of the options as well.
Yeah.
Which, if you do two, what becomes potentially difficult is splitting Logan residents in half, because that's likely where the split would fall. And so then you have one municipality trying to make a decision for two different areas if it's a district that's a north-south one. So that's a consideration as well, is then you have to ask, where do we draw the boundary? Is it second north? Where is it? So, and
that city then also has to deal with the increased traffic and maybe public safety issues that might pop up. And
of course,
like that.
Yeah. So there's so many things, where do you want to build it? Is there wetlands where you're building it? Is there an endangered bird where you could go on forever about all the considerations. So really, we're trying to narrow it down. And I think my hunch is that the voters will probably just have an appetite to bond for one, but I don't know yet. And so that's something that the committee ought to discuss. And so
that's interesting.
And that's for that reason, we do want the committee, we do feel geographic representation is a very important part of establishing that committee.
Sure.
So, and as you know, I'm a fan of geographic representation.
That's right.
So
I still have not forgotten everything I learned about district representation from you. You sold me on it.
All right.
No, I got one. That is honestly an important factor here, because the whole point of the county taking this on is to provide this service to the county. So if you go in a direction that is maybe great for Logan, Nibley, Providence, North Logan residents, but is extremely inconvenient and absolutely offers no service to someone out in Mendon, then you have a problem, right? So you're trying to meet all of that need, but first you have to learn what the need is.
Right, and they would be taxed. If it is countywide, someone in Mendon, you use that example, would be taxed. And you get into a lot of debate. People say, well, why would I pay for a service I never use? You hear that with people who don't have kids in school and don't go to school themselves. Well, man, the school district's raising taxes. Why should I pay for that? I'm never going to use that, right?
Sure.
Or why should I pay for this road that I'm never going to drive on? Or I've never hit a bucket at balls at the driving range. Why am I paying for the golf course?
Yeah.
Or I've never seen a play at Cash Arts. And so it's almost like you have a bunch of different people with different preferences that may not share the exact same ones, and you're trying to do what's best for everybody. It's a real challenge.
And it does, at a certain point. I like that the council, when they discussed this last week, put a finite time limit on this. March of 2027, right, is the end date, because really this could go on forever.
It could. And
there's so much to try and figure out.
And you know what else that date does is, let's say the folks representing different areas get together and they just can't come to an agreement. They just say, we're going to do our own thing. Maybe Nibley says, we're just going to do we've tried to compromise. It's not working out. That still gives them time to get something on their ballot. Usually that process begins in June.
Sure.
So if they want to form a district, if there's 3 cities that are just super into it and they say, never mind, this countywide thing's a non-starter.
Sure.
So I do want to leave room for that. The council isn't trying to dictate what should happen. What we're trying to do is facilitate a conversation and moderate a conversation between multiple entities to really see what they want and ultimately what the people of Cache Valley want.
And that's, in addition to being inclusive with the cities, there are, as I understand, going to be multiple attempts to do public surveying, but also public hearing style events where people, none of this scheduled yet. The vote was just last week, but that's the plan, is to get to March of next year and have a good idea of generally where the public is and what the best options are. For you as a council member, do you have like a top 3 concerns that you must check off first before you'd sign off on a plan?
Yeah, first off, like I think you alluded to this earlier, there are people that no matter how much it costs, no matter where it goes, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Right? And that's an opinion that they're entitled to.
Sure.
It was a 6-1 vote. Not even every member of the council unanimously approved this committee. So, and I think that's representative. I think there are probably I can't do 1 divided by 7 on the fly, but I want to say it's probably less than 15%.
Yeah.
I think that's representative of the population that just don't want it. And that's fine.
And don't see it as a worthwhile expense.
And so I think one of the questions that might come up is, well, do we have an equal number of people who are pro-rec center or con-rec center with this committee? And to that, I would say, well, that's not really the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to decide, of those who are interested, even maybe skeptical about it, what do they want? Because that's what we're trying to get to, is if we are going to do it, what is it going to look like?
Yeah.
And if there's someone there that just says, nope, don't want to do it, don't care, that's not really productive to that type of conversation.
Sure. And that, because in the end, you have to, I think it's important for all of us to understand this, the public. In the end, the county has to say either, here is the plan that makes most sense and we're going to move ahead with it, or here is the justification for doing nothing and we'll do nothing.
Yeah.
Either way, you have to have an answer for the public, right?
Yeah, and the people that don't want it, if it does get on the 2028 ballot, will have the chance to reject it when that comes up.
Sure.
So that option is still available.
It's such a complex issue, and there are so many factors to bring in. I'm sitting here from a perspective of, I would be horrible in this role if someone just handed me this and said, "What would you do?" I would say, "Okay, we're going to do one in North Logan, one in Nibley. One's going to have a swimming pool and some other stuff. One's going to have a track and some other stuff." And then the first thing that would happen probably after the buildings were finished is people would come up to me and say, "Nobody's using what you put in, and they want things you didn't put in," and that, all of that has to be sorted out.
Yeah, I think we've all probably seen that picture on a college campus where there's a path that these, engineers, civil engineers build this beautiful path with flowers.
It's amazing.
And then you see the beaten down grass where people actually walk.
Because the engineers had a great idea, but it wasn't practical.
Yeah, and we don't want to do this. This isn't a monument to our arrogance. That's not the point of this. I think what we want to truly do is something that people are going to use, and there are indicators of what people are using already. So
have you seen any of that? That was going to be my final question here for you. Have you seen any data so far that kind of, any hints or teasers that you can throw out as far as how are people using rec centers these days? I know that it's a myth that the average rec center trends to be elderly. A lot of elderly people take advantage of them, especially in the wintertime. But I was surprised to learn that young people are some of the most aggressive users of community rec centers in the summertime.
Yeah, and we look at programming has a lot to do with it. And, with VCBO doing the Provo Rec Center, that's one thing that Provo has a ton of, different classes, spin classes, learn to skate classes, those type of things. So it's with rec centers, really it can be difficult because it's a chicken and the egg type thing. And one thing, you mentioned the elderly. Often we don't think of them as trendsetters, but if you look back at the pickleball,
that was them.
Yeah, so don't discount them. I think you can look to them to see maybe where some things are going.
Yeah, they discovered it first, and we're all just following them.
Right, and then we have some survey data which shows that the indoor pool is by far and away the top desired amenity.
That makes sense.
And so that shapes how you do it, because indoor pools are not cheap, right? So
sure,
it's really almost impossible for one city to bear the brunt of that cost. So that's why we need this cooperation. And I think we've seen other things in the county, like we've seen the waste management, or there's some talk of when the Logan Library was being constructed, should that be a county thing? So I think we've learned from other projects that there is an appetite for cooperation. It's just very difficult, but
sure.
But it's worth pursuing, I think, because when you can share in the costs and when you can share community resources, you can build something really great that's not too far from everybody.
That's actually I think the inspiring thing about this is something is possible here. Do you? I lied. I said that was my last question for you. I remembered another, but we do have a lot of resources. This is from the anti crowd. I hear a lot. Look, we've got a lot of resources already, and that's true. But the question is, are they meeting the need? And that's what this committee will try to figure out. If we get to the end and we decide, okay, it's obvious some sort of resource, centralized resource, county operated is necessary. Maybe it's one big central location. Maybe it's two satellite locations, north, south, or east and west. Maybe it's something completely different than that. But you also have the opportunity to coordinate and network existing resources in, and even include, when we're talking recreation, some of our natural wonders around us. There's a huge opportunity there, right?
There is, and you have to take all the different opportunities into consideration, right? And
sure. Because some might say, look, just connect all the existing resources and we're good.
Yeah, and then there might be, again, with the cost and proximity, someone might say, well, if there's a water slide, I'm willing to drive 20 minutes. But if it's just a class on an exercise bike, man, I don't want to drive more than 5 minutes. So you really have to frame the context of proximity and cost.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
this is complex. I appreciate you coming in to kind of break this down. And so timeline-wise, what happens next? The council now has to actually build the committee, right?
Yeah, we have to appoint people. So just to maybe frame it for listeners, so we have it's a 6-person committee with at least one person on the council, minimum 1, up to 3 from the county council.
Okay.
And then 6 residents. So 1 in Logan, 2 north of Logan, 2 south of Logan, and then 1 from unincorporated. That
makes sense. So, get a little, because that unincorporated voice is going to be an important perspective there as well.
It is. Yep.
That's interesting. This is going to be fascinating to watch. The entire process will be public, and there will be a lot of resources that the committee has access to that you'll have the opportunity to see as well. So roughly under a year from now, we'll all know a lot more about this. So I'm excited to see this play out. And Cache County Council member Keegan Garrity, again, our guest here, talking about what happens next after the council voted last week to create a feasibility study committee to dig into all of this involving a countywide recreational center system of some sorts. The committee will be populated and begin its work with a March 2027 deadline. And we'll, I'm sure, be talking about this a lot more over the next year. So, Keegan, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for making the time for our listeners. And we'll do it again soon. And to our listeners, stick around. More of For the People after the news with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. Mendon City leaders kicked off Pioneer celebrations this afternoon in Mendon with community events that'll run now through Saturday. Now, the festivities began this afternoon with a sidewalk chalk art contest. Now, coming up tonight, there'll be a talent show and also the beginning of a multi-day softball tournament. Now, throughout the week, the town is also hosting daily pickleball tournaments, country line dancing, a family canoe night, and also a historic home tour at Minden Station. Now, coming up on Friday, there'll be the Pony Express horse race and a community flag football game. The celebrations all will culminate Saturday with a full slate of activities, including a sunrise 5K, 10K fun run, a fireman's breakfast, and the annual parade on Main Street and a vendor fair. Now, the week-long event will conclude Saturday night with a band performance and then fireworks at dark. Of course, Logan City and North Logan's Pioneer Day celebrations will be kicking off Friday as well. Well, in other news, a 59-year-old hiker died Saturday after being struck by lightning near the summit of American Fork, Twin Peaks, according to the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office. Now, search and rescue crews responded around 12:20 on Saturday following reports of the lightning strike that had caused a man to fall in the Twin Peaks area of Little Cottonwood Canyon. Now, a Utah Department of Public Safety helicopter quickly located the victim. Emergency crews say they recovered the individual once the severe weather had cleared, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, authorities have not released his name. The sheriff's office, meanwhile, extending their condolences to the victim's family. Well, activists gathered at Liberty Park in Salt Lake City on Saturday for the national Good Trouble Lives On movement, honoring the legacy of the late U.S. Representative John Lewis, while also protesting federal immigration actions and alleged voter suppression. Now, the demonstration followed the recent deaths of two individuals who were killed by ICE agents in Texas and Maine. Now, protesters called on Congress to intervene, citing more than 50 custody-related deaths in the last year and a half. Now, participants also raised concerns about modern challenges to democracy, speaking out against gerrymandering and restrictive voting laws. Now, organizers stated that the event aimed to amplify silenced voices and continue Lewis's lifelong advocacy for civil rights and voting access through nonviolent civil action. And finally, authorities are searching for three teenagers after a security guard was stabbed Friday afternoon during a robbery that happened at a Salt Lake City grocery store. Now, police say they responded to reports of a theft at a Harmon's Deli along First South State Street at around 3 o'clock. Now, according to police officers, the teenagers had stabbed the security guard in the stomach after he confronted them for shoplifting at the deli. Now, the security guard, whose identity has not been released, was transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspects, meanwhile, fled and so far have yet to be located. Well, it's been another hot one today, and it looks like tomorrow more of the same. As tonight, we'll see temperatures drop into the mid-60s. Tomorrow, we'll be back into the high 90s. Could see a small chance of some isolated thunderstorms. And then as we head into Wednesday, that chance of precipitation will increase as temperatures only going to be in the low 90s for the middle of the week. And then low 90s Thursday, mid-90s by Friday. And weather this hour brought to you by Cardall's Insulation. If you're constantly adjusting the thermostat, just trying to stay cool, it may not be your HVAC system. Maybe time to check out the insulation around your home. Proper insulation can keep your home's temperature more consistent. And Cardall's Insulation can take care of your home, garage, attic, just about anywhere. Call them today at 755-5012. And I'm Will Feelwright for KVNU News.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Officer. A memorial service in Ocean Springs, Mississippi today for Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old who died after a July 4th boat trip. Wells' mother, Christine Wansley, spoke at the service.
Your absence has left an emptiness that can never truly be filled. A piece of our hearts will always be missing.
A new round of severe weather moving toward the Midwest and East Coast. Parts of the upper Midwest facing the threat of damaging winds and possible tornadoes. ABC meteorologist Ginger Z on rough weather in Utah.
More than 400 severe storm reports since Friday. In Beaver County, Utah, monsoon thunderstorms dropping up to 1.5 inches straight on the recent Cottonwood burn scar, triggering flash flooding. The murky, blackened waters carrying the wildfire's remains.
A Connecticut dog named Bella got a legislative honor for shielding a little boy from a charging bear July 4th. Bella will also get a steak as a bravery reward. This is ABC News.
My friend John Hansen at the Duct Hunter has constantly educated you about the need for ductwork cleaning in your home. But what about your cabin or summer home outside the valley? You need that home's ductwork clean too. With high pollen counts in the mountains, dust always in the wind, and road construction ever present, the old adage of out of sight, out of mind is bad. Give the Duct Hunter a call at 770-4813 to clean out those dirty ducts in your summer home.
We are the Duct Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home.
Look, let's clear something up. IV therapy, hormones, peptides, ozone, this isn't about luxury wellness. It's about function. This is Dr. Josh Red with Red River Health and Wellness, and we're expanding our services to include these advanced therapies that support how your body actually works. Low energy, inflammation, hormones, recovery, immune health. These treatments are used intentionally with medical oversight and integrated into our existing approach to whole body care. If you're tired of quick fixes and vague answers, this is something different. This is about supporting your health at a deeper level so you can feel better, think clear, and live stronger. Red River Health and Wellness, because your health deserves more than guesswork. Learn more or schedule a consultation at redriverhealthandwellness.com.
Call Red River Health and Wellness at 855-55-RIVER.
Call Red River today.
Discover the comfort of outdoor living this year with a project by Canyon Landscaping. Fresh seasonal planting beds, a custom paver patio perfect for barbecues, and subtle landscape lighting to keep the party going long after sunset, or a place to relax after a long day. Every project is designed around how you live. Professionally installed, on budget and on time. Ready to create the perfect outdoor space? Visit canyonlandscaping.com to view the gallery. Canyon Landscaping. Look for the leaf.
This is Lee. For years, Cache Valley has trusted Lee's Plumbing to take care of your plumbing needs. And now we're teaming up with Any Hour Services to provide even more support to Cache Valley homeowners. Mike?
Thanks, Lee. I'm Mike Wilson from Any Hour Services. We're excited to team up with Lee's Plumbing, giving homeowners one team to call for plumbing, drains, heating, cooling, and electrical.
Same trusted service, more ways to help around your home. Lee's Plumbing
and Any Hour Services.
Better together. Schedule your service today.
Owning a business may be stressful, but insuring it doesn't have to be. This is Matt Robbins with the Alera Group, formerly Quality First Insurance. Our experienced agents have been in the industry for many years and understand the challenges you face. As an independent agency, we have access to multiple carriers like Auto Owners Insurance to ensure you get the policy that's right for your company. Let's give your business insurance a fresh look. Call us today, 435-752-0101.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. In the Middle East, Jordan has suddenly become a focal point for Iranian attacks as the conflict with the U.S. threatens to deepen. We'll examine why. Also, if the job market is in decent shape, why is the long-term unemployment rate near its highest level since post-COVID? And analyzing financial guidance from robo-advisors and AI. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Thanks again to Cache County Council Member Keegan Garrity. Always a fun person to have a discussion with. And Keegan was, no offense to any other council member, but he was the perfect person to have down for this because I know this is stuff that excites him. This really is kind of an overwhelming task the county is taking on here. And it's important that they're doing it. I don't know what the outcome will be. I don't know if the committee... in the end, this committee, by March, with a deadline of March of 2027, this committee will, after doing a year of research and learning and seeking public feedback and doing public surveying and things like that, they're going to have to, as a committee, that again will be made up of a handful of council members and city representatives and 6 members of the public from roughly various districts or areas, if you will, of the Cache Valley's makeup, including unincorporated areas. This group of people will have to, in the end, make a set of recommendations to the council on a rec center, a countywide rec center program and system. And in the end, that recommendation might be nothing. We should do nothing. I doubt that will be the recommendation. That might be what voters say after it's put on the ballot, but it is not going to be what the committee says. The committee is going to recommend, either multiple locations with split amenities, different things at each location, or it's going to recommend one big central location. As I've said many times on the show, I'm preferential to the split north and south. There's nowhere in Cache Valley that's this might change as population grows. I understand that. And also the demands on rec center program are going to change as population grow and as our population ages for the next few decades at least. It's not difficult to get around Cache Valley. I personally, and again, this is just an example of something the committee might find I'm really wrong about. But I personally have a hard time believing that if someone has to drive to North Logan, say you live in Providence, and say the rec center south location without a swimming pool, that one has the track and the weight room and the yoga classes, and I don't know how this will be broken up. That one's in Nibley. You live in Providence, that one's in Nibley. But the one with the pool, the most popular recreational center amenity, is in North Logan. I don't think that's going to be a big burden for many Providence residents or Hiram. Paradise and Avon, I'm sorry, folks out there. You're just you got a slog ahead of you to even get to a McDonald's. So you're used to it. But the majority of Cache Valley, I don't think North Logan or Nibley, for example, is going to be too much of a burden. Maybe it's a 16-minute drive instead of a 4-minute drive. I doubt that's going to reduce a lot of recreational center use that otherwise would have manifested. That said, the committee might also find that just for operational cost reasons alone, a big central location that's a bit longer of a drive for everybody is just more practical or more taxpayer cost friendly long term. Maybe you find that two satellite locations north and south are more upgradable down the road when these are going to have to get a little bit bigger as our population doubles. Or maybe you find that's true of a central location. These are the things I don't know. These are the types of things the committee's going to have to figure out. I just want to throw this out there, though, because Keegan and I were talking about this during the interview and afterwards, and it's a lot of the commentary I've seen online. A lot of people are sort of missing a step here in this committee's work. I think the feeling out there is the committee is going to decide. No, this committee is literally a research body. They will present a final report of everything they've learned to the county council, and that will be presented publicly at a regular council meeting sometime in March of 2027. But the council then also gets to deliberate, and then the council will get final say on whether or not this is put on the ballot for voters to actually have the final word. Because the voters are going to have to probably approve a bond, a county-wide bond. So everybody's got a little skin in the game in this one if it moves ahead finally. And that will be on the ballot if the council decides to do it in 2028, in the fall of 2028. And that's a big year, of course. That's the next presidential election year, and a lot of turnout in that year. So, this is a lengthy process we're talking here before a single shovelful of dirt gets overturned. And I would assume we're looking at a couple of years of construction before, at least a year and a half of construction before, anything resembling a recreational facility is actually operational. So this is a lengthy process, plenty of time for everybody to learn about it. But it's important to remember this committee is not the deciding body. This committee is the research body. Because I'm seeing a lot of reaction online that the county is just I saw one comment that the county creates these committees so that they don't have to take responsibility for the money they're about to spend. No, this committee is literally just to research this, collect all the information possible, talk to every consultant they can find out there who specializes in this type of thing, talk to the public, survey the public, collect demographic data from the state and those who project what it's going to look like here in Cache Valley 10, 15, 20 years from now. And all of that has to be factored in, discussed and debated by the committee. And in the end, final report is then presented to the council, who will take it from there. And the council, after deliberation, their job is to vote thumbs up or thumbs down whether or not to put it on the ballot. And then again, in the end, voters will have the final say. If voters say no, no bonding, no project moves. If voters say yes, then the bonding process is begun and project moves ahead. But again, that is likely not going to be on the ballot one way or another until November of 2028. So plenty of time for everybody to get up to speed here. And big news for East Idaho. I have some breaking news. I'm being facetious. I am not an In-N-Out Burger fan. I'm sorry. It's not for me. I totally understand their appeal, and their appeal is real. I've seen those lines late at night, even on a Tuesday night there on 4th North. But for Idaho listeners, the Twin Falls In-N-Out Burger is officially a thing, though the official open date is still a mystery. Leaked online today that the In-N-Out Burger in Twin Falls will go up at 1965 Blue Lakes Boulevard in Twin Falls, which is the former site of the Outback Steakhouse there in Twin Falls. So some breaking news for our listeners in Twin Falls and those who travel through. Rumors, though, in the same report from Idaho State Journal, rumors going around that if the Twin Falls location goes well, then the chain will actually, they have a location in Meridian, believe it or not, an In-N-Out in Meridian, Idaho. The rumor has it that there is talk, at least, of a southeast Idaho In-N-Out location. So, Preston listeners, keep an eye on this one. Some breaking In-N-Out news there. So, thanks for sending that along, Kathy. Kathy, apparently a huge In-N-Out Burger fan. I got a message from Kathy here just as I was about to go to the break saying, you have to announce this breaking news to your listeners. The Twin Falls In-N-Out Burger is not a rumor. And, yeah, she's correct. Idaho State Journal reporting that the official location of In-N-Out Burger has been leaked. Well, leaked is too strong of a word. The report says leaked. But apparently what happened is they put up a sign in the vacant Outback Steakhouse lot earlier today that said that's where the In-N-Out Burger is going, in Twin Falls. So people get excited about this stuff. I know people from Utah that are probably going to drive there. We'll be back with more of KVNU's. Not that you shouldn't drive to Twin Falls. The falls are beautiful. Twin Falls itself is a fun city. But I know people that will probably drive there for an In-N-Out Burger and their substandard fries. Now I'm going to ignore all the calls yelling at me. Now, if you want to yell at me for my fry hate, 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Box Elder County. Got a junk car? Here's where it goes now. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan is stepping up, serving Brigham City, Tremont, Willard, Corinne, Garland, and across northern Utah and southern Idaho. They pay top dollar for vehicles and scrap metal, and they'll haul it away for you. Fast, easy, and you get paid. Take the quick drive to Valley View Highway or just make the call, 787-1204. That's 787-1204. DD Auto and Salvage, northern Utah and southern Idaho's go-to for junk car cash.
Hey, Chuck, what type of loans do you offer at Dollar Loan Center in Logan and Ogden?
We offer no collateral, signature loans up to $5,000, and the process normally takes less than an hour.
We do this at all our locations, or our customers can complete the entire loan process at don'tbebroke.com to save even more time. And when their loan is approved, we do instant funding to the account of their choice or give them cash.
Up to $5,000 cash in minutes? I'm in.
It's free to apply, and new customers get the first week's interest on us. And we charge by the day so they can pay off quickly to save a lot of money or keep the money for up to a year.
Dollar Loan Center lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by in Logan, Ogden, or any of our 15 Utah locations to meet our real friendly staff. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by the Utah Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval. Limitations may apply. See website for details.
Oh, we live in a great area. Are you just back from a camping trip? Don't take your sleeping bags to the dry cleaner. Come to Mount Logan Laundry. For just a few quarters, our 55 or 80-pound washers and 80-pound dryers will have those bags clean for your next trip. Mount Logan Laundry has free Wi-Fi and drop-off service. Plus, they're open until midnight. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town. Find them at 5th East and 9th North in Logan or in Brigham City on the corner of 1st East and 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's first news. In the Middle East, Jordan has suddenly become a focal point for Iranian attacks as the conflict with the U.S. threatens to deepen. We'll examine why. Also, if the job market is in decent shape, why is the long-term unemployment rate near its highest level since post-COVID? And analyzing financial guidance from robo-advisors and AI. Tuesday on This Morning, America's first news. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. A local company in statewide news over the last few days after a lawsuit was made public. A lawsuit that names Logan-based Cash, Coffee, and More in the suit. Salt Lake Tribune has the full story on this, but as this was filed in a district court, the Cash, Coffee, and More company is named in a copyright infringement lawsuit. The details on this are kind of interesting. Now, Cash Coffee, you may know, boasts itself as a sometimes politically outspoken and right-leaning company. They have a MAGA roast, for example. During a recent Cache Valley No Kings rally, a young man at the rally had a sign that made its way into many Facebook posts and media reports around the valley, including our own here, that said, "I love my coffee, fascism free." And so, I mean, obviously kind of a dig at Cash Coffee. And the owner of Cash Coffee took to Facebook and said, "I normally don't feed the trolls, however, went out of my way to make a special sign just for Jamie." And I'm sorry, I've got that wrong. So the Idaho photographer, Sharon Rose, posted a photo of the man that had been snapped at the Cache Valley No Kings rally. And so Cash Coffee posted on their Facebook page, "Normally don't feed the trolls, however, I went out of my way to make a special sign just for Jamie." Jamie Butter's the owner of Cash Coffee. And it was a cartoon version of the photo that of the man at the No Kings rally that, again, said, "I love my coffee, fascism free." Obviously a dig at Cash Coffee Company, or Cash Coffee and More. Sorry, I get their name right. And they turned it into a cartoon, which they actually put on bags and T-shirts, which was the same guy, cartoon version of the same guy, same T-shirt and everything, and their logo, Cash Coffee. And but they changed the sign to say, "I love my coffee, caffeine free," and so obviously mocking him for liking caffeine free coffee. Anyway, they're getting sued. The man had apparently filed a copyright protection on the photo, according to the lawsuit, and a man who used the original photo as his profile picture, along with the photographer from the Idaho outlet that took the picture, actually objected to the shop using the image, adding that the company, exposed his personal likeness from his own personal Facebook page, And then because he also appeared in the Idaho photographers, personal photography that she had posted to the Idaho Outlets page, that they had violated the copyright rules in that respect as well. Salt Lake Tribune again reports that there's been no statement. The filing alleges that they warned Cash Coffee that the photo was copyrighted and that the company couldn't use it without permission, but that they did anyway. And the complaint alleges they're entitled up to about $30,000 in damages. No comment from Butters or others at Cash Coffee, but don't really see lawsuits about this type of thing very